walking into the completed first century synagogue to visualize Jesus standing and teaching and interacting with crowds, to see the seating area around both sides of us, to imagine people facing each other even as they're paying attention to the person at the front of the room speaking or reading. It's a special moment. We're here in the first century replica synagogue in Nazareth Village, and over in Luke chapter 4, it explains one of the times where Jesus comes back to his hometown of Nazareth. In Luke chapter 4, verse 16, it says, "He came to Nazareth where he had been brought up, and as was his custom, he went to the synagogue on the Sabbath day, and he stood up to read. And the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was given to him. He unrolled the scroll and found the place where it was written, 'The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty those who are oppressed, and proclaim the year of the Lord's favor.' And he rolled up the scroll and gave it back to the attendant and sat down. And the eyes of all in the synagogue were fixed on him. And he began to say to them, 'Today this scripture has been fulfilled in your hearing.' And they wrestled with what he meant by all of that. They understood this was Jesus who grew up here. This is Joseph and Mary's son, the carpenter's son. What does he mean that he has fulfilled this prophecy from Isaiah? Toward the end of that section in Luke chapter 4, he explains a prophet in his own country is not accepted, and they actually reject him. They drag him out of the synagogue, take him to a cliff here in Nazareth to throw him off the hill. But Jesus ends up escaping, and from that point on, he makes Capernaum his hometown. But it would have happened in a place like this, where his first century neighbors were wrestling with, who does Jesus think that he is? Who is he saying that he is? And this is just a great place to help us visualize that as they wrestled with that great question. To imagine Jesus being in a synagogue like that in Nazareth when he reads from Isaiah and says, "This has been fulfilled in your hearing," and to imagine that group of people that he grew up with in a space like that reject him and drag him outside to throw him off a cliff, and to imagine the hurt that he must have felt, thinking about how he wanted to be a benefit to these people. He wanted these people to benefit from who he was and what he was doing, and it made you hurt for Jesus as he was hurting for them.
I'm Craig.
And I'm Stu, and we're the founders of Appian Media.
We really hope that you've enjoyed the content that you've just seen. This was only made available through the generous donations of so many of you.
We believe that the world should have biblically accurate, visually engaging content about the Bible, and it should be free for everyone.
We would encourage you to visit the membership page of appianmedia.org and consider becoming a reoccurring member. Everything that you donate to Appian Media is tax deductible.
However you decide to donate, we really appreciate your support.